Hello everyone, today is 7th of May, now it's 22:10 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment, and I will start with this report that today elected president of Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, will be inaugurated as a president of Russia, and this is going to be fifth presidential term for Vladimir Putin, and I guess probably last one. And well, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. But hopefully he will finish whatever strategical plans he had, and well, he will transfer power to successor on the terms when Russia will be in a much better place and much stronger than it is now, or Russia was when Putin took presidency first time. And dear friends, probably all of you will agree with me, even if you've never been in post-Soviet republics or in Russia in 90s, but changes are really dramatic. Under leadership of Putin, Russia once again become a major power in this world. This is undisputed, objective reality, I believe, and world even changed, because we are moving now towards multipolarity, which will be much more just system, foundation for international relationships. I hope so. And well, Russia is unrecognizable, by the way. You cannot even compare 90s Russia and modern Russia. It's like two different countries from different universes. So, and that's why, by the way, Putin has such a huge support in Russia and even outside of Russia. So yes, today inauguration, and of course media attention in Russia, in the world, will be on this event. And of course Russian government will step down today, and after inauguration, Russian president, after some time, not necessarily today, but after some time, Russian president will appoint prime minister once again and the cabinet of the country. And I guess the current prime minister Mishustin will probably become a prime minister once again, because he's doing quite a good job. I don't see any reason why he would be replaced, although anything is possible. There may be some changes in the cabinet. Let's see. That's also interesting topic. And dear friends, let's talk about some geopolitical issues that are connected with the Ukrainian crisis. RIA Novosti is reporting that according to information that media outlet RIA Novosti received, Ukrainian armed forces were planning massive strike on Russian territory on the morning of 7th of May, so today, before inauguration of the Russian president. And well, RIA Novosti reported, RIA Novosti reported that Kiev regime was planning to launch huge volleys of drones and long-range missiles towards Russian territory to strike deep inside Russia, to basically spoil inauguration of the Russian president. And As we all know, whenever Kiev regime is launching long-range missiles, let's say Storm Shadow, British-made Storm Shadow or French-made Scalp, long-range cruise missiles, and whenever Kiev regime is launching maritime drones, for example, in the Black Sea, usually these operations are conducted under strict control of the NATO military personnel, British military personnel to be more precise, with active participation of US and the French military officers and the intelligence officers, and therefore because if RT knew that there were some plans to strike Russia, of course the Russian military intelligence and the Kremlin knew about it also, and therefore yesterday Ambassador of United Kingdom was summoned into Russian Foreign Ministry, and also Ambassador of France. And we have a report here that Russia issues a military ultimatum to United Kingdom. And I guess very same can be said about France. And let's go through this information. Moscow will retaliate against the British targets in Ukraine or elsewhere if Kiev uses UK-provided missiles to strike Russian territory, the Foreign Ministry told London's ambassador on Monday. Ambassador Nigel Casey was summoned to Ministry of Foreign Affairs following remarks by the British Foreign Secretary David Cameron to Reuters that Ukraine has the right to use long-range missiles sent by the UK to strike deep inside Russia. And dear friends, as I just said, usually it's British military officers and intelligence officers that are in control of these strikes and are participating in these operations. That's information that is available in open sources. And because, according to RT, there was a plan in place to conduct large-scale missile and drone strikes against Russia on 7th of May, today. It is possible that Foreign Minister of UK, David Cameron, made that statement that Kiev regime has a right to strike deep inside Russian territory because he was probably informed about this plan to target Russia. And the ambassador was summoned, and this is the strongest warning that I have ever seen towards United Kingdom or NATO in general, because according to this information, Moscow warned that there will be retaliation against British assets, not just in Ukraine, but also elsewhere. This is, warnings cannot go any stronger than that. I guess after this type of warning, then if ultimatum did not work, then action will take place. And by the way, I did not sleep all night because of this report of RT about a possible large-scale strike on Russian territory. I did not really sleep. I was monitoring media outlets constantly, Telegram channels, to keep you updated, and nothing happened. For this moment, now it's 9:49 in the morning, no reports about any drone or missile strikes on Russian territory from Ukraine. And maybe this ultimatum worked. Maybe London finally hear what Moscow has to say, and it's not just the UK's leadership, but also French leadership. This ultimatum, this warning, was given to NATO, basically, not just to London. So before this moment, there was no strikes. As I said, according to some reports that I see, inauguration will take place about 12 o'clock Moscow time. And let's hope London and Paris will not escalate further and will not launch those missiles towards Russia. Otherwise, Moscow is quite clear, there will be retaliations. And that may quite quickly escalate to, we know what, even full-scale conflict between Russia and NATO. And I don't think anybody wants, anybody with the sanity wants to see full-scale confrontation between the two sides. And by the way, Dmitry Medvedev also made quite strong statements about well, leadership of the collective West. Western leaders are infantile morons, according to former president of Russian Federation and also prime minister and current deputy chairman of the Security Council. US, UK, France and other Western nations should take Russian nuclear drill as a reminder of where escalation of the Ukraine conflict could take them. Former President Dmitry Medvedev has stated, and as I reported yesterday in an update, Putin, President of Russian Federation, ordered drills to take place of non-strategic nuclear forces. And non-strategic nuclear forces means tactical nukes. And Southern Military District will conduct these drills, and of course Southern Military District is actively involved in special military operation. This is also, by the way, a very serious warning. Very serious warning, and well, if there is a time when London, Paris, Washington, some other capitals in the West that are part of this Russophobic hysteria, anti-Russian front, it is definitely time for them to listen before it's not too late. So on Monday, the Russian Defense Ministry announced an imminent exercises to test their capability to deploy non-strategic nuclear weapons. It said the training was ordered by President Vladimir Putin after provocative statements and threats by Western officials. Medvedev, who serves as the deputy head of the Russian Security Council, referred to debates in the West about possible deployment of NATO troops to Ukraine, as well as active encouragement of Kiev to use Western missile weapons against the entire Russian territory as grounds for the drill. Russia will have to respond to the proposed deployment of the Western soldiers, and this response will not be in Ukraine, the Russian official warned. In the case, there will be no hiding on Capitol Hill, in the Ellis Palace, or at the Downing Street. The situation is comparable to the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, according to Medvedev. He said that current Western elites were infantile morons who refused to see the risk, unlike US President John F. Kennedy and Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev, who managed to walk back the escalation 6 decades ago. So, yet again, very strong statements from Moscow, very strong warnings, and once again, if there was time to listen to these warnings for the Western ruling elites, I mean, it is definitely time for it now, because there may be no more warnings from Russia. It would be better if they will listen from the very first day of their special military operation, even before that, when Russian President Vladimir Putin proposed US propose collective West negotiations on to de-escalate relationships between the sides, but collective West did not listen then, and ignored many warnings from Moscow, and well, they might ignore warning now also, but it wouldn't end well for them, that's for sure, and possibly for anybody. and everybody in this world. Vzglyad newspaper is reporting that, well, surprisingly, yesterday, Macron, president of France, started changing his tune once again, and for whatever reason, he made a statement that France is not at a war with Russia, as have no plans to get engaged in military confrontation, direct military confrontation with Russia. Yet again, maybe finally Moscow's warning reached these morons that are in charge, formally at least in charge in the many Western countries, including nuclear ones, US, UK and France. Possible, although who knows, by the way, who knows. RT is reporting that, well, Germany wants to arm Ukraine with the Russian funds. As I said, man, they cannot stop, they cannot help themselves, those so-called elites in the West. They see these frozen Russian assets, they want to steal it. They want to steal it, and that's what they're gonna do. So interests earned from the Russian assets frozen by EU should be spent on weapons for Ukraine, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said on Monday. The US and its allies seized around 300 billion in assets belonging to Russian Central Bank in February 2022 when the Ukraine conflict escalated. The EU has stopped short of confiscating their money outright, proposing instead to direct their interests to Kiev. It is important that we also agree that this money can be used for arms purchases not only in the EU but for purchases worldwide, Scholz, German Chancellor, told reporters in Riga after a meeting with, and Riga is capital of Latvia, of course, after a meeting with the governments of Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. He endorsed a proposal by the EU Foreign Policy Commissioner Joseph Borrell about how their money should be allocated. According to Borrell, around 90% of the interests should be spent on weapons for Ukraine through the European Peace Facility program, while the rest would be allocated to EU budget to support Kiev's own military industry. Okay, I mean, here in Russia, by the way, I don't think anybody expects those frozen assets to be returned to Russia ever. Most likely, Western ruling class will steal it because they are thieves, by the way. They are generational thieves. Last 3 to 5 centuries, all they were doing, these Western ruling clans, ruling families, they were robbing and stealing worldwide. Just about everywhere they could. That's how they build their wealth and their power. And as I said, they cannot help themselves. That's the only way they know. And they are acting that way right now. They are openly saying how they're gonna steal Russian assets. Interests from Russian assets or frozen assets themselves, it's still stealing, by the way. Anyways, let's continue. RBK news agency is reporting that, well, very same Olaf Scholz also made quite interesting statements how tough he is and how tough Germany's army is, Bundeswehr, and he stated that if necessary, Germany is capable of providing some 35,000 military personnel to protect NATO member states. First of all, no one attacking NATO. Russia is not attacking NATO. Of course, all those rhetorics is against Russia. And every other day, high-ranking officials in the West are, you know, reiterating themselves that Russia will attack today, tomorrow, or day after. This scaremongering tactic will not stop, I guess, anytime soon. So, first of all, no one is attacking NATO. And definitely not Russia, if not provoked. And secondly, 35,000 troops? Seriously? And I mean, how not to laugh on this? That Schultz even understand what he's talking about. I don't know, man. I don't know. RT is reporting that Swiss summit on Ukraine is a parody, according to Lavrov, Russian foreign minister. As we all know, on 15th, 16th of June, I believe, there will be a summit on Ukraine in Switzerland. Russia is not invited. And Moscow was quite clear before that Russia sees no point in that type of conferences, because the main topic of discussion, first of all, Russia is not invited, and secondly, main topic of discussion have been chosen by host side, by Switzerland, Zelensky's so-called peace formula. And that peace formula is total nonsense, by the way. I cannot imagine how anybody, any serious person can with straight face read that formula. So Moscow was quite clear in its attitude towards that conference, and well, Lavrov is basically once again make it clear for everybody, for the entire world, that it's just a parody, that summit, nothing else. The upcoming Swiss hosted peace conference on Moscow's conflict with Kyiv is a parody of negotiations in which Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky will be promoted, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has stated. In an interview with the Bosnian broadcaster ATV released on Sunday, he claimed that Bern is lying about its willingness to invite Russia to the upcoming summit scheduled for June 15th at the Burgenstock resort near Lucim. When our Swiss colleagues declared their desire to invite Russia to the first conference, they are lying, Lavrov said, adding that Moscow will not participate in any events that promote Zelensky's peace formula. He added that Russia is seriously open to negotiations. However, they must be based on the current realities. So, yes, quite clear message once again. I don't really understand why Switzerland is organizing that conference. I mean, I cannot believe that Swiss leadership not really understands that it's just a nonsensical event. But maybe they were ordered by Washington or London, who knows? I don't know. Swiss is no longer a neutral state. It's a part of a member of anti-Russian bloc, anti-Russian coalition. So therefore, here in Russia, I don't think anybody cares what is the motivation of the Swiss leadership. They are enemies of Russia anyways. And not Switzerland, by the way, leadership of Switzerland. So therefore, we just don't care. And well, Lentero is reporting that leader of China, Xi Jinping, commented also on peace talks about Ukraine, and he said that China will support only peace conference on topic of Ukrainian crisis if this conference will be approved not just by Kyiv but by Moscow also, because it does make sense then in that case, which is, I mean, logical, isn't it? Which is so simple stuff. I mean, this is not some nuclear science or quantum physics, for God's sake. It's a simple, but not for Swiss leadership. For Swedish leadership, it's just too difficult. Medvedev rightfully said, by the way, many Western states, by the way, many Western states are run by morons. It is what it is. It's factual. Anyways, let's continue. RBK news agency is reporting that according to Sky News, British Defense Ministry's British Defense Ministry servers have been breached by hackers, and significant volume of information, including classified information, have been removed or copied. And well, Sky News is basically blaming China for this hack. And what is interesting, this news comes right now as Chinese leader is in Europe in his diplomatic tour. And therefore, by the way, if this was any other time, I will say, okay, possible, why not? Why not? Countries are constantly spying on each other. But right now, when Chinese leader is in Europe, nah, I don't buy it. This is pure fake news, by the way. That's an example of the fake news. When something have been spread by media exactly at the time when, potential target is in a media spotlight, let's say this way. Like Xi Jinping is and his visit in Europe. So this is prime example of the Western propaganda, how propaganda works in general. In this particular case, Western propaganda. It's a fake news, by the way. I don't believe any of it. Although hacking itself, it's not big deal. It's not big deal. All countries. That's why these intelligence services are existing. They're constantly trying to reach more and more information. That's what they do. RT is reporting that Middle East, by the way, yesterday information was shared on a public that Hamas accepted ceasefire deal. So Hamas has accepted the ceasefire proposal put forward by Egypt and the Qatari mediators. A spokesman for the group told Al Jazeera on Monday. Although, by the way, Israel didn't agree on this deal, and not just didn't agree, but Israel started its military operation in Rafah. And already Israeli tanks established control on Rafah border crossing checkpoint between Gaza Strip and Egypt. And since yesterday afternoon and until now, Israel is conducting artillery strikes, air strikes, drone strikes on Rafah itself, where, according to some reports, 1.5 million people are now concentrated from all around the Gaza Strip. So there was many statements from world leaders that were calling Israel not to conduct this military operation because there was an immense risk that as a result of Israeli military operation, casualties among civilians would be unimaginable. But Netanyahu did not listen. Netanyahu's government didn't listen. They just don't care. They are emboldened with the impunity, and therefore they are just not listening to nobody, which is a tragedy, by the way, for Palestine and for Israel also, because of the Netanyahu and his government and their actions. Support for Israel worldwide has dropped significantly. RT is reporting that, even though, by the way, yesterday Chinese leader Xi Jinping had a conversation with not just French, he was in France, and he had negotiations with not just French leader Macron, but also with Ursula Bursula washing machine, and after that, those negotiations, this individual that has some obsession with the washing machines and chips start threatening China. Man, this is the level of political culture in the modern West. That's just what it is. European Commission President Ursula von der Ursula instead intends to talk to visiting Chinese President Xi Jinping about policies that she claims pose a threat of deindustrialization of the bloc. She already had a conversation with Chinese leader, and according to her, by the way, China is currently manufacturing with the massive subsidies more than it is selling due to its own weak domestic demand. This is leading to an oversupply of Chinese subsidized goods such as EVs and steel that is leading to unfair trade, she claimed. Europe cannot accept such a market distorting practices that could lead to the industrialization of Europe, according to her. And what is interesting, I mean, how she can blame China for the industrialization of Europe when it was her and her colleagues in Brussels and also in the leadership of EU member states that overwhelmingly cheered or supported sanctions against Russia, including energy sector of the Russia. And by losing access to relatively cheap Russian energy, European economies are now in a situation, and businesses in Europe are now in a situation where they can no longer compete on the world market because of the high cost of whatever they are producing. And still, by the way, this individual, this Ursula Bursula, is blaming China instead of recognizing mistakes that was made by leadership of the West. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. RT is reporting that, well, China's leaders visit in EU, one of the major reasons for this visit is to avert trade war with the EU. So Chinese President Xi Jinping met with his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron and EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen on Monday to resolve economic disagreements between the Brussels and Beijing. Various media outlets have reported Xi Jinping arrived in France on Sunday for a two-day visit, embarking on his first trip to Europe in 5 years. The Chinese leader will next head to Serbia and Hungary. The world today has entered a new period of turbulence and change, Xi Jinping stated at the start of the trilateral meeting in Paris. As two important forces in the world, China and Europe should continuously make new contributions to the world peace and development, he said. The Paris meeting mainly focused on the trade disputes between Beijing and EU. According to Macron, Europe and China must resolve structural difficulties, in particular on trade. The future of our continents will also very clearly depend on our capacity to further develop in a balanced way our relationships with China, the French president said during the meeting with them in the Elysee Palace. And well, okay, main topic was economy, and well, I don't really understand why Chinese leader even had a meeting with these people, Macron and Ursula Bursula. What is the point, really? They can say one thing today, another one tomorrow, and day after they may act even differently. Xi Jinping should know this better than anyone, because we all remember when Macron was in China. After that visit, he was for a week or two making quite adequate statements. And then something happened. And he went crazy mode and cannot stop until now. Although every other week, of course, he does make statements that are contradicting each other. That's his style, I guess. It all depends on medications, by the way. If he misses appointment with his psychiatrist, then I mean, he starts making some wow statements. But it is what it is, man. That's president that French society wanted, and well, they have it. Anyways, by the way, I will end this update now on this news that Europe and China are on the edge of trade war, in which I don't think EU has any chances really, but they cannot. They don't know diplomacy. They don't know how to negotiate, how to listen, and therefore, you know, they will escalate with everybody, everywhere, and eventually, as I said, by the way, give it 20, 30, 50 years from now, and continental Europe or European Union, if it will exist for that time, will be just, you know, loosely relevant region of the Eurasian continent. That's it. Only with Russia, by the way, only with the strategic partnership with Russia, European states or EU had the opportunity to maintain its relevance on the world stage as a major player. But without Russia, I mean, it is what it is. So yes, hopefully you will find this update interesting. Relatively short video, by the way. And the main topic for today, of course, it's inauguration and the possible large-scale missile and drone attacks on Russia that may be conducted under leadership of United Kingdom and France or NATO today. Although, as I said, for now there was no reports about any strikes. And by the way, before I go, let me check once again to make sure that for this moment there was no information about any large-scale strikes. I will check right now several news agencies. So yes, for now, no reports about any missile launches or drone launches against Russia. And let's hope it will stay this way, because Moscow issued a very strong warning, ultimatum basically, and I guess this ultimatum worked, at least for now. That's how it looks like. So yes, this is it for now. Hopefully you will find this update interesting, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. This is the only way we have to influence algorithm and reach wider audience. And for very same reason, if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on any of the platforms that you are actively using. And finally, if you can and if you want to, you can support my work with small donations through PayPal, Boosty, and by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And before I go, dear friends, let me make an announcement that today 9 o'clock I will have a live stream. 9 o'clock evening Moscow time I will have a live stream. I already received one question, and if during the day I will receive additional questions through PayPal, Boosty. Of course, I will answer those questions in the Q&A part of the live stream first, or at least I'm not gonna miss those questions. While in the chat I may not see some questions. I'm supposed to have a live stream tomorrow, but I would not be able to do so tomorrow, so I will make live stream today. So hopefully you will find time to join the conversation. So today, 9 o'clock this evening, Moscow time, live stream on my YouTube channel. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.